would subscribe, but at not more than 60 rupees a share. So we realized immediately that the issue was overpriced. However, what we did was that we went to HDFC, which the promoter knew. He knew Deepak Parikh and got him to subscribe to a part of the issue. The issue just about got a 1.05 times subscription at a point of time when the market, that was the only issue to get through. After that, the market just crashed courtesy Y2K. So what happened after that is that the stock over the course of the next 4 or 5 years went down to about 8 rupees a share. The 116 rupees a share went down to about 8 rupees a share. And then subsequently, if you look at the current market price, the company turned around in the current markets is something like it went up by about 15 times from the issue price, which is a normal return, one would say, in the context of about the 20-year valuation. However, when you look at what has actually happened at that point of time, was the valuation right? And if you look at it from the perspective today, is the valuation at that point of time justified? These are factors which we will always look back on and wonder whether it was right or not as valuers. And we'll probably never get to the right answer. But what we know is that we made the best attempt at evaluation at that point of time. And it's just that circumstances have worked in our favor to give us the valuation that we thought it would be. So just to give you a perspective about an issue which I did a long time back, Mr. Srinivasan, if your speaker's on, we can just start off.
Yeah.
Just let us know.
Okay.
The speaker's on? Okay.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Sandeep Raina, who is head of equity research at Edelweiss Financial Services. Edelweiss, as you know, is a financial services company. They run a mutual fund, they run broking, they run a regular financial services. They are also a joint venture for life insurance with Tokyo Life. So they acquired the mutual fund schemes of JP Morgan. They also have ARC. Those of you who are insolvency professionals here will know that most of the leading cases, the litigation and in IBC will have Edelweiss Asset Reconstruction Company versus so and so. So I have been a customer of Edelweiss as far as investing in stock markets are concerned for the last 10 years or so. So when I get regularly, recommendations from Edelweiss. So I do a bit of dabbling in the stock market. So one day I decided, why not see the guy who gives all this advice? Why don't we hear him and get the benefit of his experience, his insights into how to invest in stock markets. So that is how, I asked my broker, Mr. Rohit Bansal, to arrange a speech by Mr. Sandeep Raina. Okay, to give you a background of Mr. Sandeep Raina is a Master of Management Science and Finance from Mumbai University. He has a total of 16-year experience, of which he has spent about 13 years essentially in equity research. So Mr. Raina started his career with CRISIL, which is a rating company. In CRISIL, he was mainly doing mining and special project evaluations. So after CRISIL, he joined Edelweiss. In Edelweiss, he has spent about 13 years, mainly in the doing equity research in the field of consumer durables, agri inputs, and metals, with a special focus on mid caps. So this is his extent of his experience. So today we shall hear from him as to what are the drivers for equities, the listed equities especially. So as valuers, we are generally doing the valuation of unlisted equities. The listed equity is mainly driven by stock market valuation. So the stock market is a different ball game altogether. So what we need to understand today is the broader macroeconomic perspectives. Within the macroeconomic perspective, you have industry factors which drive valuation. Within an industry factor, you have a company-specific factors which drive valuation. These are the matters which we will understand from Mr. Raina today. Yeah, Mr. Mukherjee, Mr. Raina is online.
Morning, I'm Sandeep Raina. I work with Edelweiss from last 12 years. So this is my 13th year running, and I have total experience of around 16 years plus. All in equities. I have not done anything else other than equities. By qualification, I'm MBA Finance. When I spoke to Arjun, the idea was very simple that we want to talk about how to look at markets. What are the things that we should look at when we should look at stocks? Okay. So my earlier part of presentation will be how to look at stock. Basically, there are a lot of things that you look at in a stock. So I'll slowly get into that. And second is briefly I will talk about the markets also. I think you guys will be interested in knowing what markets are, right? So just starting with the presentation, I think when people want to make money, okay, there are a lot of things. One is I can start my business, okay. Uh, I can do investments, which I will be talking about. So the third part I will be talking about, yeah. And then there are a lot of other things like jobs, right? So we will do jobs. Generally, it should be a mix of either 1 and 3, which is there on the on the PPT, or 1 and 2, 2 and 3. So the third part should always be there in our lives, and that's why we are here today to discuss that. Right? Now, how do we do that? You would have seen people talking about, I trade a lot and I make money. I invest and that's why I make money. I do arbitrage. Now, arbitrage is a different science altogether. So, what is that? Uh, I'll briefly talk about it, but I will not suggest people who are new to the market should do that. Okay, arbitrage is basically there are a lot of things like you're getting something cheap, you're getting expensive, you create a structure and do that. A lot of times you would have heard people saying two companies are merging. When you look at the price of one company, because ultimately they'll get merged. So one is looking cheaper and then you do the arbitrage. But those are very special things that we should not do that. Now special situations again, like you have IPOs, you have buybacks and all that. So again, a complex one, which I'll not suggest. For us, for people, it should be investing. It should be proper investing, right? And this is what we'll talk about. Trading is also something which is actually short term. That I'll buy today, maybe in 5-10 days I'll sell, or maybe in a month's time I will sell. But again, that is not something that we should get into. So again, here we should focus on the fourth part, which is investing. Now, big question: how do I invest? Right? Lot of things. You have to track the economy. You have to track the markets. Economy and markets are two different things. Okay. You have to track different sectors. I'll tell you why. And we have to track different stocks. So it's a complex thing. But over a period, you realize that they talk to each other. It is not possible that generally economy will be doing very badly for 10 years and markets are roaring. It will not happen. It can happen for 6-8 months, the way it is happening right now, because you would be thinking that market is going up, right? But your economy is in bad shape because you have a GDP which is down 23 or 24%. We'll talk about it. How does it happen? We have to look at market. When I say market, it's a stock market. Yeah. So in stock market, you look at various indices. Like there's a question here that is Nifty or Bank Nifty the barometer of markets? I'll talk about it. And when we have a question answer session, we can discuss these things. Now, sectors. Sector means that there are so many sectors. Like you have consumption sector, you have chemical, you have insurance, you have banking. We have to understand these things also, right? And then stocks, which is our ultimate aim, that we have to understand stock market, right? And to understand stock market, we need to understand specific companies. Like if I talk about chemical companies, I don't want to invest in every chemical company. I will invest in specific chemical company, and that I should understand. And I should understand which is the one company I'll be buying in and not the others, because I can buy everything, right? So that is how it is. So in short, again, I'll just, because this is the mother slide, if you ask me personally, that you have to track the economy, you have to track the markets, you have to track the sectors, and you have to track the stocks, right? So this is what it is. Now in economy, I'm sure these are the normal things you would have heard about. You know, fiscal deficit, fiscal surplus, जो कि इंडिया में कभी नहीं होता है. Currency fluctuations, trade deficit, यानी कि import export क्या है इंडिया का. Every month you would have heard, a lot of times saying इंडिया का deficit, the trade deficit a month का $10 billion हो गया है, जो huge number. Because $10 billion, $100 billion का deficit साल का, 120 billion, which is a big number. बीच में 13 भी हो गया था. अभी आज के डेट में बहुत कम है, बिकॉज आपके एक्सपोर्ट्स भी खत्म हो गए, इंपोर्ट्स भी खत्म हो गए. एंड अगर मैं आपको एक जस्ट पर्सपेक्टिव बताऊं, इंडिया का पिछले 5-7 साल से एक्सपोर्ट बढ़ा ही नहीं है, इंपोर्ट बढ़ता है. एंड दैट्स व्हाई दिस इज इंक्रीजिंग, एंड दैट इज अ वरी, बिकॉज आप इतना इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स गुड्स इंपोर्ट करते हैं. दैट्स व्हाई प्रधानमंत्री इज सेइंग आत्मनिर्भर, बिकॉज स्टार्ट क्रिएटिंग इन इंडिया. इट्स नॉट अ रॉकेट साइंस, बिकॉज आप एक्सपोर्ट करते ही नहीं कुछ खास, आप इंपोर्ट भर भर के करते, विच इज नॉट गुड फॉर द इकोनॉमी, राइट? करेंसी फ्लक्चुएशन, मतलब करेंसी आपका अगर आप 10 साल पहले देखेंगे तो 40 रुपए 50 रुपए का था, 75 रुपए. लुक एट द depreciation that is happening, and that is the weak economic of part. And one thought is, it is important that we depreciate, because country like us, we need that kind of depreciation, because तभी आपका export अच्छा होगा, right? Which is fine. And then the big one, which you can see in the middle, is inflation and interest rates. बहुत important है अपने आप को समझना, because if you remember 5-6 years back, inflation was at 7%, 8%, which is very high. We cannot manage that. But inflation of 3-4% is something that should be there. At least इतना होना चाहिए, because it's like inflation इसीलिए important है हमारी लाइफ में, मतलब but less 3-4%, because price of goods should move up. It's like salary should move up, right? So it is like that. Interest rate should be lower. It should not be zero, because if it is zero, like what is happening in global economy, there is a problem in economy. But a good interest of 3-4% is very healthy. इंडिया में कभी नहीं होता. इंडिया में तो अभी लोवेस्ट इंटरेस्ट रेट पे आप 6-6.5%, पर जनरली इंडिया में बहुत हाई इंटरेस्ट रेट रहता है. एंड आप देखोगे जो भी स्मॉल कंट्रीज है, जो भी नॉट डेवलप्ड कंट्री, वहाँ इंटरेस्ट रेट बहुत हाई होते हैं, बिकॉज उसके रीजंस है. आपका फॉरेक्स इतना अच्छा नहीं है, आपकी आरबीआई या गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया की बैलेंस शीट इतनी अच्छी नहीं, बिकॉज दे हैव टू कीप ऑन इंपोर्टिंग. तो इस करके आपका ये सब प्रॉब्लम्स होने के चक्कर में यू कैन नॉट हैव इन्फ्लेशन विच इंटरेस्ट रेट विच इज लोअर, बट ठीक है, वी हैव टू डील विद इट. सो दिस इज द पोर्शन ऑफ इकोनॉमी दैट वी हैव टू टेक केयर ऑफ, राइट? देन देन मार्केट्स में क्या देखना है आपको? बहुत सारी चीजें हैं. फंड फ्लो, जो मैं पहले भी बात करता, हाउ मच FII मनी is coming in Indian markets, बहुत important है, because ultimately जो FII money होता है वो बड़ा पैसा होता है. They don't come in small number, they come in big numbers, $1 billion, $2 billion. तभी आप देखते हैं जिस समय, I don't know how many of you track the market, जब शाम को डेटा निकलता है कि $2 billion का बाइंग हुआ, तो उस दिन मार्केट बहुत ऊपर होता है. सिमिलरली जिस दिन FI सेलिंग करता है, उस दिन मार्केट गिर जाता है, because we are dependent on foreign money. We are not that big that we can manage our own capital, say market, right? But the bigger thing in this is, of late, in lately last 2-3 years, Indian market has got a lot of internal money also. And it is not that Indian people don't have money, because we invest in gold, we invest in FDs, right? So these are the two big ones where we invest. But globally, it's not the case. Our equity money of our savings is not even 2% in India. Globally, it's a big number. Let's say in US and all. So that is a problem that we have to depend on the foreign capital. Global cues. What is happening in the global market? How is market behaving in US? Because you will see that market is up 5% in US. India will also be up. It will not happen that market in US is up 20%, will be down 10%. It can happen for a month, but generally over a longer period, it will not happen. Very important, market valuations. How expensive is the market? If it is not expensive, you should buy. If it is expensive, you should exit. It looks simple, but it's a very difficult one. And I will talk about market valuation. So let me talk about it right now also. When you look at, I don't know how many of you understand price to earning. So a lot of times you would have heard that people saying market बहुत expensive because it is trading at 20p, 22p, while the historical average is only 15, 16. I have a different take on that. We know that in markets, companies keep on changing in Nifty. So just to give a perspective, in 1996 till now, there are only 15 companies which have continued. Rest all have been changed over a period. And but what has happened is, every sector has a different P based on their ROCE. I'll explain you what it is. ROCE is basically for 1 rupee invested, how much money do I earn every year. Just to give a perspective, Tata Steel, for every 1 rupee make, or let's say to simplify, for every 100 rupee invested, they make only 12 rupees. While in Hindustan Lever, for every 100 rupee invested, they make 70, 80 rupees. So that is what the difference is in the kind of investment they make and the kind of return they make. So that's why these companies are expensive. Now, what is happening in Nifty is you are getting lot of high P companies in the Nifty. So your P of Nifty will improve. Just to give you a perspective now again, like Reliance, they used to do the 12, 13 P, but today it is more than 20 P, and the reason for that is he's changing the game for himself. Now it is not an old oil and gas company; it's a telecom plus retail company. So automatically the P of Nifty will increase. So that is the way to look at market, and that is why I look at. Then the fourth point is events. There are a lot of events that happen, like COVID is an event, okay? Election is an event, like US election right now happening is an event, and it's an important one. We have tensions with China, that's an event. Issues with Iran, Iraq, with US, that's an event. So how events can impact the market, it's very important for us to know. Yeah. So it's economy, it's markets that we need to know, right? Now the question is, a lot of people say that what do I do? Because I know a lot of non-market people. They say, what do I do? Because you have the softwares, you speak to corporates, your job is day in and day out to do this. But how do I basically know about it? It's very simple. We have to read. Now, this I can tell to a lot of students. There are like websites or books that on the right side I have just put the books. Then on the left side there are few softwares. Now, Screener.in is free. I understand that Capital Line is expensive. You have to buy that software, and that's not expensive software. I think it's for some 1.5 lakhs over a year. Okay, but Screener.in is free. You go to that website, you get a lot of data. Research Bytes is free, right? Now there are a lot of blogs that people have. Like I have written few blogs on the left bottom side, but there are many more. On the right top, there are few books that you should read if you are actually interested in reading. And there's a lot of online like Investopedia is there. So you get a lot of content to read. And but I'll tell you one thing: it's very important that we write our own notes, we write our own book, uh, so that we learn how to invest. Because what happens is, if I have a style of investing, that doesn't mean that it will work for you. You have to have your own style for sure, and that will happen over a period. I thought it's important that what to do, because I have seen a lot of people struggling and asking, what do I do? From where do I learn, and from where do I start? So I would say it's important that we read books, financial books. I think basic is that we have to read books like Margin of Safety. So we have to read them. It's simple. Yeah. The value investor is interesting. Yeah. So I'll just move on. Uh, Now, after doing this markets and everything, ultimately the goal is what? To invest in stocks, right? Now, how do I do that? I think there are few things that we should look in when we look at stock markets. Now, if you remember, I spoke about you know uh, return on capital employed. On the right side, you can see what is that, right? This is, I think, very important ratio that you look at for every uh, stock, because if a company you're investing in is less than 15 or 18 odd percent of ROC, generally please avoid that company unless that ROC is changing big time. There's a lot of companies, like जैसे मैं आपको example देता हूँ. There's a company called as Tata Consumers. Now, if you look at the ROC of that business, it's not even 7-8%, but we believe in next 5 years this can go up to 18-19%, because right now he is in investing mode. So that is a different way to look at it. But generally, a steady state business in the long term, you cannot buy less than 15 or 18 odd percent, because your cost of capital itself is 12%. Now, I'll just give you a perspective. If I'm taking a loan from a bank at 12% and making less than 12% in my business, there's no point doing that business, right? There has to be delta of how much I earn and how much I pay. The delta at least should be 5-6-7%. And that's why when we talk about US companies having uh, ROC or 12%, it is as good as ROC or 20% in India, because there the cost of capital is 3-4% or 5%. They make 10-12%. The delta is 7-8% of incremental from their cost of capital. Similarly, for banks or for Indian companies, that it should be 12 plus 6%, so which comes to 18-19%. So you have to have companies doing an ROC of 17-18%. So this is a very important learning that we should have when we invest in markets. Now, that is one. Second is why I chose this slide as number one slide when we are doing investing, because I think it is the most important thing when we do stock investing, that we should know what is my ROC, and we should not get into company which is, and this is full bookish, that's why I put this slide. In stock market, very important, don't focus on clutters. There will be so much of news flow around your company. Just focus on the stock news, that where you have investment. Uh, you should not at all get into every news which is there in the market around. Don't do that. You will spoil yourself. Just focus on the companies that you have invested. Let's say you have invested in Titan. Now you should know how the gold prices are moving. First of all, you should understand what Titan is. Will gold prices impact, uh, earnings of Titan? That is most important that we should know. If it impacts, then we should actually monitor that information. Otherwise, we should not get into just news flow. That will just spoil us. This is very important slide. I'll spend some time here. This is an old slide. When we do stock picking, okay. Now, just to give an example on the left hand side, if you see, this is the old slide I've taken, but I thought it's important that we do it. If you would have invested, and I have taken that period because in that period Nifty moved up significantly, but if I would have taken a recent one, Nifty didn't move too much, and there are not too many stocks which became multi-baggers. So from 2004 to 17, yeah, Nifty went up 5x, right? Uh, but if you would have invested in a sector such as auto, it became 10x. Wow, double the Nifty, right? But at the same time, if you would have invested in a sector called infra, which didn't do well that time, you would have made only 3x. So actually, it's underperformance, right? However, on the other hand, if you would have got the stock right, like you would have got, let's say, Motherson Sumi, it became 42x, and that is what we should look at. Now, see the difference. Your market went up 5 times, your auto sector, which do very well, went up 10x, while your stock picking, you made 42 times. However, if you would have invested in infra segment, you would have made just only 3 times. So that is the power of stock picking, and that is why it is important that you look at, and trust me, what happened with Motherson Sumi was your ROC changed. He bought two companies which were like doing losses, and he made them profitable. Suddenly everything changed for him, and that is the power. That is the power of investing. Now there are a lot of things like that. This is important. Now there are 3 slides, 1, 2, and 3. There are different styles to look at a company. Now this is good company, reasonably. I was talking about the companies which are running parallelly, doing well. So what do you look at these companies? You just have to look at the industry, analyze the industry, look at the business model. Like I was saying, Titan. Titan, will gold prices impact Titan? Actually, it doesn't impact gold price. It doesn't impact too much, unless it is like super volatile, like it just went up 50%. It just goes up 50% in 1 year. Then that time it impacts Titan. But generally, gold prices doesn't impact Titan because they don't make money on gold price. Unlike a lot of other jewelers, because they have inventories, Titan doesn't have inventories because they have internally done a good amount of work so that it doesn't impact the inventory, because they don't buy the entire inventory. They buy inventory only for 1 or 2 days. Yes, so if you see whatever is there on Titan showroom, it is not owned by Titan. It is owned by banks. So let me not get into so much of detail. Then you have to analyze the past performance also. Like, it should not happen. Generally, what will happen, you'll see, past is always bad and future is always bright for most of the company. And it doesn't happen. If you have not done anything great in life, trust me, going forward also it's difficult to do well. There are very few chances. And the problem, what? Everyone tries to find companies in this category of not doing well before and doing very well. And in that process, trust me, mostly they lose money. I tell often people that it is not difficult to make reasonable money. But people try to mix, find stocks where they can do wonders. In that process, they lose money. If you just follow simple rules, trust me, you will not lose money. Let's say if you will just buy HDFC Bank or a Kotak Bank or a Reliance or maybe Asian Paint, trust me, you will not lose money. And major portion of your portfolio should be those kind of stocks. So this is for a normal business. Now, second slide, I'm getting to cyclicals. Now, cyclical companies. Now, companies like steel. Steel companies can never be investments, because steel cycles, the prices will move up for 2 years, will come down for 2 years. You will not, ultimately, if you invest for 4 years, will not make money. So it is very important to understand the cycle. Like the first point, if you ask me, it's you have to understand the cycle of the steel industry, that am I in the right cycle or not? Is it's a cycle up or down? Right? If it is up, then you look at where is the inflection point, and then you enter in the cycle and try to exit whenever it's down. And you can also, this is investing, but let's say it is the top, then you start shorting also. That's a different thing, but let me not get into that. So I'm saying industry also, different type of companies or sectors needs to be looked at in a different way. This is what I was talking. Now these are different, like you have change of management or there is a change of business, then you have to look at it a different way, identify what the management changing in the business. So the first slide that I showed you is normal business, second is the cyclical, third is a changing business. Like Tata Consumer is a perfect example for this. It's changing. It's consolidated all the consumer business into one business, adding a lot of new businesses. And this is how we have to understand that what is changing, what will happen, how will the margin change, uh, what is the potential that the stock can make, and am I able to take that risk also? That is one thing that you should ask every time you invest in stock market. And this is what it is. Now, this is a very beautiful slide, and I like it. And there it is, people get stuck. Uh, if you just look at this slide for 10 seconds, I'll take a 10-second pause. Read what is written there. It is very interesting. Yeah. So on the left bottom, I've written wealth destroyers. On the left top, I've written growth traps. On the right bottom, I've written true wealth creators. And right bottom is quality traps. Now, you have heard a lot of companies going bust. Like, these companies are, a lot of people say, this company is great, it will be multi-bagger, but doesn't happen. And there is a reason why it didn't happen, and there is a reason why people believe that it will happen. So you have to be actually very cautious when you invest in these kinds of companies, because these are actually wealth destroyers. Uh, a classic example, I don't know how many of you know Pakrangi Software. A lot of people say, wow, it's a great company. They were 40% FI holding, but ultimately it became a wealth destroyer. The stock is down some 70-80%. There are a lot of companies which comes and becomes 1-2 baggers also, transitory, but then you're stuck. You invest in company when it's already doubled, it goes 50% up from your price, but then it comes down from your price and you're stuck. So it's important that we understand properly where do I have to get. So companies, that's what I'm saying, basic thumb rule. Just focus that company should grow at 15%. I say it's called as 15 square. 15% ROC business, 15% growth. Trust me, will not go wrong. Just simply put companies, put a screener, say I want to buy companies with 15% plus growth and 15% ROC. That's it. You'll make a lot of money. So this is an important one. Always think about these things. So now this is the one which we should understand, and these are the principles of investing. So when we look at any stock, the first thing that you should look at is what is my opportunity size, how big this industry can be, how big this company can be, right? Uh, this is most important. So I have to understand, can this company grow at 30%, 20%, 5%? I have to understand that. Second, very important is my corporate governance. What is my corporate governance? Am I good, bad? Like I know Tatas are good, right? So I don't have to do too much of research. But there are so many new companies. I don't know their corporate governance. Do they, siphon money from their system, or what do they do? What is their modus operandi? It's very important for me to know because if I invest in companies with corporate governance, you should trust me. In long term, you'll not make money. You'll make money in some bouts, and then it will come down again, right? So we should be, uh, and there are a lot of ways to do it. But you have to speak like the way I do it. I speak to their bankers. I speak to their investors. I speak to their distributor dealers. You guys can't do it, but I'm saying simply you should have this thing. You should not get into companies where there are problems with the corporate governance. Third important point, which is moat around the business. Very important for me to understand. What is moat? Uh, let's say you're buying Asian Paints. Now, Asian Paints, as a company, I know for the fact that it is a brand which has been created by somebody which cannot be replicated easily, and that is the mode. The brand is the mode. If you see in last 10 years, they have always increased their market share despite they having already such a big market share. They have more than 50% of the market. Pidilite, very strong brand. You can't create Pidilite now. You can't create Fevicol. You can't create Fevikwik. You may create over a period of 10 years, but it will not happen quickly. That is mode. Size is the mode. Reliance, such a big size they have created in oil and gas. It's very difficult to replicate. So you have to find that modes. On the right hand side, you see capital efficiency. That is my ROC, which I was talking about. A difference in my return I make and the cost of capital. So uh, how much capital efficiency I make is the difference of those. Second is there are a lot of times you'll have companies with multiple businesses, right? Now, in that, what will happen is you should understand and see is that company investing only in high ROC business or not. A lot of times it will happen that company will keep on investing in low ROC business. If that happens, trust me, stay away from that business because ultimately it will come down. So that's why the term that we use as an analyst is incremental ROC. Like the new money invested, how much ROC are you getting? It has to be higher than the current ROC. Then that is the company that you should buy. Second very important thing which is not here is cash flows. A lot of times companies make good profit, but everything is stuck in working capital. I don't want to buy those companies, right? So this is my stock picking criteria or rules or whatever principles you say. If you follow them, I think the stock investing will be very very simple for us, and it will be great. Uh, this is an important one because people who are not too much into markets, they actually are stuck because of these reasons. Because I have to make sure that integrity of a company is maintained and it is there. That's why, and you will get this information in your newspapers. Is that company raising too much of capital? Is it the compensation of that top management linked to the stock price? Then he'll make sure that he'll give all the information that stock price move up, but that will fizzle out over a period. Uh, is he using market cap as currency? Is he using personal wealth enhancement as my stock market this thing? Am I trying to maintain the credit ratings? This you'll not get to know, but then this is important for people like us. Is he doing tax evasions? Is he too much into stock market expectation? That is he? Let's say if he says that I'll grow at 50%, does he do that or not? Or it's never that he does what he says. So there are a lot of things that we should be looking at, and this helps because a lot of time management say we'll do 40% growth, 30% growth, but they don't do it, and those companies should be actually kind of stayed away. And this is very important for me in investing because I tell you there's a type 1 error and type 2 error. Type 1 is that I don't make money. Type 2 is I lose money. Second cannot happen. It's okay not to make money. It's okay to make less money, but it will be a crime to lose money, because if I don't have capital, I cannot make more capital. But I'm okay saying that, it's okay not to have capital. Sorry, it's okay not to make too much of return, but at least if I have capital, I can make a return going forward. Maybe not this time, but if I erode my capital, I'll be in problem. So this is very important. Integrity is important, because what happens is, maybe for 1 year I'll not make money in some businesses, but if my business is good, my integrity is strong, then I'll make money over a period. So that's very simple. This is an offshoot of the previous slide, which I was talking about. So this is the sum up of my fundamental research. I look at working capital, which I have spoken about. I look at profits. I look at gross block. Now, gross block is important. It's not very, very important, because there can be heavy gross block companies, but the margins also should be very high. And that's a good thing for me a lot of time, because then if the gross block required for a business is very high, then everyone cannot just come in. You know? So that is important. So that is the earnings. If you see the middle portion of the website of my slide, this is moat. Moat is basically nothing. You would have seen the wall outside of this fort. That is moat, because I can't just get in. That is a protection, and that is a moat is actually the protection. That is it possible for me to replicate that business, and how easily? Everything can be rebuilt, but how easily? That is the question. And that's why when you look at businesses, you have to look at, on the right side, you can see, you have to see the growth, you have to see the return ratio, you have to see the moat, and that is how you create value. So this is very important that we look at. So this is it from my side on the learning part of it. I thought it will be important that we talk about markets also, because I'm sure people will be interested in knowing what is happening in the market. And I think this cartoon on the right bottom, is a very important one. What is happening in the market? Because everybody is scratching their head and saying, what should I do in this market? Because economy is not doing well. Okay, and stock markets are moving up. So what do I do? I just want to say that economy and markets can follow different paths for a short term. I'm not saying long. For a month or two, it is okay that markets are in a different direction. And one more thing I want to tell you, market doesn't believe in current. Economists believe in current. If you speak to a lot of economists, they'll say, no, there's a lot of problems, GDP is down, inflation is a worry, money supply is not that strong, RBI is not giving a lot of funds, our banks is not giving a lot of funds. All that we would have seen in economy. But market says, I know this. What is new in this? But I know if I'm down 23-24%, my market will also down 23-24%. But I will be up 10-15% next year, because I'll come back to normalcy. आज नहीं आऊँगा तो 6 महीने बाद आऊँगा. Then I don't want to wait, and market moves on. So market is a mother of all, trust me, and it is far, far beyond anyone's imagination, and they are very smart. So market will factor in a lot of things beforehand, and economy will not do that. Economy will take its time. But market knows that by FY22, everything, most of the things will get normalized. I have to then look at this. So that's why I'm saying market and this can follow a different path for a short time, but ultimately they will be in the same direction. This is a very interesting one. So you would have seen, unlocking happened. Locking happened 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Every time you said there's a problem. But when unlocking happened, trust me, it was beyond expectations. Now, if you go on the street, you can see the kind of traffic it is there on roads. Uh, Few restaurants are also open. Home delivery is on. Your retail has started opening up. So I think unlocking was very, very smooth and fast, and that's what market has taken it. Because if you talk to a cement guy, they're up back to their production 80%. Power is back to production and consumption by 90% or 87%. So that is what it is telling you, that markets are factoring that things will come back to normal, and these are the data point that tells you that things are coming back to normal, or it will happen in next 6 to 8 months. I do understand that COVID cases of 1 lakh, around 1 lakh happening in India now. So yesterday we did 98,000, but that's a function of our testing also. And second is, thankfully in India the mortality is not that high, which is a good thing for India. One more thing that corporates has done is, if you see, I don't know how many of you would be looking at financials of company, but I'm sure most of you guys will be working. Now, in your companies also, what would happen is cost has decreased significantly. So a lot of companies has reduced their cost wherever possible. They have become more efficient. So if the sales is down 20%, they have managed a large portion of cost by not taking a hit on their cost. So their cost has reduced significantly. So that way it has helped a lot of companies in kind of maintaining the margins, or in fact there are few companies who have increased their margins. So that's the best part about any kind of crisis, because you look at all the things and you become actually efficient. This was one question which was asked. Is Nifty or Bank Nifty the uh, main barometer of market? Actually, it is not. I'll just give you an example. On the left side, you can see, 50% of market, that is Nifty, moved up just because of these 5 stocks. Others didn't move, right? So if you would have invested in these stocks with a sizable number, you would have made a lot of money. On the right side, also look at the side. 65% of the movement happened because of these 7 stocks. The rest also moved, but less. Because in Nifty and Bank Nifty, there are uh, weights of companies, and Reliance has like 13% weight. Now, if Reliance moves up, the market moves up. It's very simple because of the weight. So there would be more stocks which would have done more, given more return. But when we look at Nifty perspective, Reliance has 15% weight. So if Reliance will do badly, the Nifty will do badly. It's as simple as that. This is a problem that we face, and trust me, ये हमारी life में होना नहीं चाहिए. Because I was telling you that it's difficult. It is not very difficult to make money, because if you have 2-3 criteria in place, that growth of 15, ROC of 15, you will make money. But the problem is when the market just moves up, and there are few stocks which do very well over that shorter period, people tend to get into that, because the fear of missing out is so big that you say, he's making money, the market is making money, I am not making money, I have to jump into that. And trust me, once you jump into that stock, it starts falling. And that's what I'm saying. This fear should not be there in your mind, because you should be saying, no, I don't want to lose capital. I have to make reasonable money, and these companies are good. They are making reasonable return on their capital they are investing. I will make money eventually. Simple rule of life. Trust me, you will make a lot of money. Now, this is a very good story of a sector called as chemical sector. Now, on the left side, you will see that this sector was doing an ROC of 70 odd percent. That moved to 22%. So that means they have increased their ROC over a period, right? Look at the way they have growth, and if they have grown on EBITDA, that's why they are ROC. But look at the price to earning multiple change. From 7-8 P, they got 24-25 P. Look at the delta they have got. One is my EPS would have also increased, and my price to earning also would have increased. आपको एक एग्जांपल देता हूँ, सिंपल एग्जांपल. लेट्स से एक सेक्टर है जिसका EPS लेट्स से 10 रुपीज है, उसको प्राइस टू अर्निंग 10 रुपीज का 10 पी मिलता है, तो 100 रुपीज का प्राइस होता है. लेट्स से सेम कंपनी 5 साल बाद दैट EPS becomes 20, double, which is not a big growth. 5 year में double होना is not a 15% के आसपास. But my, let's say, price to earning from 10 it goes to 30. Now what is the price? 20 into 30 is 600 rupees. So it has become 6 times in 5 years, and that is the return we are talking about. So it is great to look at companies with high ROCs, the changing high ROCs, and look at the market cap on the right side. The sector market cap from 10-11,000 became 80,000. So that is what we should look at and aim for. And trust me, if we follow our rules, again and again I'm harping the same point, just follow the rules. You will make a lot of money. FOMO should not come in your mind at all. There's one more example I give you when I talk about chemicals and why that happened. This 7p to 24p, why it happened? It's because of this. Thanks to China, a lot of capacity started shifting to India. And when it happened, India took that into consideration, and actually lot of many companies in India started building capabilities in chemicals. And that's why you saw a big growth in most. So now I have a good, reasonable 7-8 companies in India to play in chemicals, if you ask me. There's Aarti Industries to SRF to Naveen to Atul to Viniti, and so many of them, which are good size, reasonable size companies they're doing that. And that is why it is important to look at growing sectors and understand them well. It is not, and trust me, 10 में से 2 ही सेक्टर होंगे जो बहुत अच्छा करेंगे लॉन्ग टर्म में in the change of sector. 8 will fail, but we have to win those two ones. This is one slide I thought it is important for all of us, because a lot of people ask me which are the sectors that we should look at, which are the companies that we should look at. In today's market, if I ask you, there are a lot of sectors which are looking good. So chemicals is looking good, insurance is looking good, consumption is looking good, telecom is looking good. Okay. These are the good sectors, and they are all broadly long-term sectors. Banks are not looking very good, but I will be happy with only the top banks like HDFC, Kotak, and ICICI of the world, because I don't want to get into every bank. I may make a lot of money in other banks, but my security of capital is most important. So that is what I in NBFCs also. I'll just look for the large caps and the leaders. So always remember that you should always look for the large cap leaders or the mid cap leaders also. Like there are companies like Bata, which is leader in this category, and that's a good company. Or a Trent, which is a Tata company, but leader in this category, but a small company. So I should look for those companies, and that's absolutely fine. In this sectors like metals and all, I would avoid for people who don't understand market too much. And although metals are looking reasonably okay for the shorter period time, but I don't know when the short period will be closed. I say now you should not get into that. So that's why I just try to avoid. So I have just talked about 4-5 sectors which I like, and these are the current themes, and I think that will run for some time. Like insurance is a big theme for next 15 years also, if you ask me. Because it's highly under-penetrated category right now. So that's what I'm saying. Bank is a under-penetrated category, because what will happen is your private guys will become even bigger. And because if you talk about the size also right now, PSU banks still are 70-80% of the market. So you have to understand the big private guys will actually make a lot of more capital, more money going forward. So that's why we have to do this. Yeah. Next, I'll give you one more example, very interesting one. This is about Hindustan Unilever. And that's why I'm saying it is important that we understand the business and we understand what is happening. Hindustan Lever, people who would have invested in 2000, the profit went up only by from 1200 crores to 2300 crores. But stock didn't move. Look at the line on the top, on the left side. It didn't move at all. Your market actually became 4x, but your Hindustan Unilever didn't do anything. But somebody would have got in 11, market didn't do too much, but the stock went up like 7, 8x. And that is why it is very important to get the right sector. Have patience in the market. If you believe the company is good, the management is good, you will make a lot of money. And that is important to know for all of us. I think broadly I am more or less at that. I don't want to invest too much into that. These are just sector valuations and all. That every sector, like FMCG, you will see is the most expensive one because the ROCs are high, and that's why it is like that. So that's okay. And that's it from my side. I think I'm open for questions and answers now.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Srinivasan.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Yeah, so I would suggest if there would be any observations or any queries which any of the participants would like to, share with Sandeep.
Yeah, so I was also expecting some participant to ask some questions. Just give us a second or two. I think people are wanting to ask questions.
Yeah,
In the meantime, we can stop sharing the screen. So can we
And
people?
go on video mode.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, one gentleman asked whether we can discuss DMart's. DMart must be Avenue supermarkets, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can open the chat. There are few questions here. There is one help with liquidity. I don't know what is that. Isn't it mid cap already fully priced at the current market levels? Uh, a good question, but let's not generalize the term. Are mid caps very expensive or the market's very expensive? Because what happens is when we look at market in totality, you will not get uh, to know the essence of that one particular business. What happens is when we look at market in totality, there's so many companies which are expensive, which are not expensive, but I have to simply focus on companies which can give me good returns. So I will suggest that we should not get into a thought process of mid cap index is expensive or not expensive, because that will only color us and will just focus hata dega hamara. Our focus is like that we all have read that Arjun ka eye, right? The focus has to be on the stock. Then we look at stock, is it expensive or not expensive? We should not get into is market expensive, not expensive. That will just color us. These are just talking points when you will see people on TV saying, market is expensive because of one reason, two reason. Let's not get into that. Let's focus on company. Like somebody has asked on DMart, I'll reply on that. Yeah. So focus on companies. Don't focus that is market expensive or not, because that will just color you. That's my take on this thing. DMart valuation, right? Uh, See, we have to understand that DMart is a business which will be very difficult to replicate. Now, you can say that maybe next 1 year DMart will not do very well. Possible, and the reason is the competition is becoming very strong, which is Reliance. Uh, but Reliance has still not made money. Trust me, in this business too much like way DMart is making. DMart is making a lot of money, and that's why he get these kind of valuation, because it's difficult to replicate with these kind of profits what he's making, and he has a lot of real estate. So I would say yes, it is expensive, and when you say expensive, we should understand the business model. What is business model of Reliance of DMart? He buys basically all these products from these FMCG companies at a cheaper price. He was the only guy who used to tell these guys, "I'll give you everything in cash, give me a good discount." And because of his size, he used to get that discount. And after getting that discount, what used to happen is that he used to give us also a good discount, and that is the reason he has made a lot of money. And trust me, I don't like going to DMart because when you go to the DMart, it's fully crowded. But the kind of discount he gives you, you're compelled to go there, and that is the power of the business model. You don't want to go there because it's crowded, but the kind of deals he gives you, you have to go there. So that is the power of the brand. And I'm saying yes, it is expensive. It will always remain expensive, but maybe for 1 year it will not do well. Maybe, and hopefully if it corrects, I'll be very happy to buy it. It's as simple as that.
Mr. Raina, one question. Uh,
Yes, sir.
Big Bazaar also had the same business model, a lot of footfalls, always crowded, discounting. All this was true of Big Bazaar as well, but ultimately Bayani failed somewhere. Okay, and DMart is still a success story. So, what distinguished Big Bazaar and DMart? Both had the same business model, and Big Bazaar had a head start. I mean, he has been around longer.
Right. Very, very true and very good question, sir. So it's very important that we look at the financials of these companies. If you remember, Mr. Biani had a company called Pantaloon also, right?
Yeah.
Which he ultimately sold it off to Birlas in Aditya Birla Fashions. Now, there are two types of things. One is consumer brand. Second is as a financial brand. Now, Big Bazaar is a consumer brand, no doubt. But if you look at their balance sheets and everything, they were in deep problem from very few years. I'll give you example that for a retail business to do well, it is very important that we look at their inventory. If I'm stuck in inventory, if I'm not able to churn my inventory, my business goes for a toss. Now, Big Bazaar had a big problem with inventory. Now, when I say inventory, if I'm not able to sell what I have bought, then my inventory is stuck, my capital is stuck, and I'll have to buy more inventory by getting into debt, and I'm in a trap. And that is a problem that Big Bazaar had, that Mr. Biani was able to get into scale, but he was not able to manage the inventory, and which led to this. I don't know if you remember, like 10-15 years back, there was a company called Vishal Retail. They had the similar problem. So in retail, it's very simple that I have to manage my inventory. If I am not able to manage my, आपको मैं एक और example देता हूँ. Let's say a lot of companies who are into textile, like apparel companies, right? If they are not able to sell what they have made this year, they stuck for, trust me, for 3 years, because one, they will not get their money. They are stuck with inventory. They have to release that inventory at discounted price, which will happen next year because it's seasonal product. Then his 1 or 2 years are gone. And if your 2 years gone, trust me, it will be very difficult to come back again. So it's a very difficult, like a thin margin. You make just 4-5% only in these kind of business. So that's why your efficiency has to be very, very high. And that's why it is not only that you look at the consumer brand. You have to look at the financials. In financials, you were stressed always. Now I talked about Pantaloon. Now Pantaloon, when he had it, it was making a loss of 5% at EBITDA level, operating loss. After this has been taken over by Birlas, that 5% margin loss has become now 8% over. They took like 4 years, no doubt. But they changed it. And there is no problem with inventory. They changed the business model and all that. So I think it is important to look at the financials of the companies, then looking at only the consumer side brand. I'll give you one more classic example. Is Raymond's a brand for you? You think Raymond's is a big brand? It is not a brand because it's a loss-making company. The company doesn't make too much of money. So for me as an analyst, it doesn't make sense to invest in them. So what I'm trying to tell you, there's a different consumer brand and there's a different brand which makes money. And for me, a brand is not making money, I will not invest in that. It's as simple as that. So it's important that we look at the financials. So, in the slide I mentioned that we should look at screener.in and all. You'll get to know from there, is this company making money or not? If the company is not making money, I don't care how big that brand is in consumer minds. It doesn't matter to me. On the other hand, maybe I'll give you one more example. You have seen the Cracks brand, that rings that comes. I don't know whether you've seen. It's basically con rings. Not many people have seen it, but it makes money. I'll buy that company. So what I'm trying to say is, it doesn't matter to me that what consumer believes about that brand. It has to be both. Consumers should also like it, people who are using it, and at the same time, you should be making money. It has to be both. It can't be one. So that's why finances are very, very important for me. Now somebody has asked on Tata Chemical, just a second, how to identify an underdog. Trust me, sir, actually it's very difficult to find an underdog, and that is the problem. I tell we should not look for underdogs, because generally when you try to find an underdog, out of 10 only one becomes big, but in 9 cases you lose money. So the probability is that you lose money is higher than you making money. So generally, if you ask me personally, we should not look for that. Now, having said it, you have asked for it. It's a very simple thing, which I said in the 5-6 rules. What is the opportunity size? Is there a moat that business has, or is there ROC improvement that will happen? Will my PAT increase or EPS increase by more than 15%? Is my P very low? So one way to look at it is, when you look at price to earning, is my EPS growth higher than price to earning? That is what we should look at companies. And there you will find a lot of underdogs. If a company is trading at 5 times and he's growing at 30 times, 30%, we should be buying those companies. Those are underdogs. But generally, it's very difficult to find underdogs. And trust me, if you're not an analyst and if you're doing your normal business and job, it will be a difficult one to find those and to monitor those. See, finding is okay, it will do well in 2-3 quarters and maybe 1 year. But then the day will fall, you'll not be able to exit. They'll say, no, it will come back, it will do that. Until the time your 50-60% capital will get eroded. And then you will say, okay, fine, I've lost my capital. So I'll generally suggest not to get into finding underdog. Go for good companies. You trust me, make good 15-18%. Power of compounding is so powerful that 15-18% is a big one if you make money. Like, just to give example, in 10 years, if you make 26% CAGR, it's a very good one. Your stock price gets into in 10x. It's a 10 bagger. It is like huge money. Someone has Tata Chemicals share quoting below the book. Why? Industry fees only 1.6 or whatsoever. Now, Tata Chemical is not a great company because if you know, I was talking Tata Consumers. So Tata Chemical had brand like Sampan, Tata Sampan, or this salt brand. What has happened is all that has been shifted to Tata Consumers. Now they are making Tata Consumer a big consumer company, and you should buy Tata Consumer. Now Tata Chemicals is just now a chemical company, and that too with low ROC. Like they make soda ash and all. So there is nothing much left in Tata Chemicals to be part of. Now someone has asked what should be the typical horizon one should invest. See, broadly, if you ask me personally, one should invest for n number of years, for lifelong. but it doesn't happen. But generally, equity is a long-term asset class, so you should have a view of 2 to 3 years. But that doesn't mean that you should stop looking at or monitoring that stock. Every quarter, you have to monitor that stock and trying to see how are the results. If the results start becoming bad, you can't just keep on investing in stocks. So it's important that you look at and monitor it every quarter. But investing has to be 2 to 3 years if you are investing. Yeah. Uh, Now it's all about buy the news and sell the rumor because market is at a phase. Insurance stock could suffer, can suffer cause of claims. Yes, insurance companies can have a lot of claims, but it's not that easy because actually guys who are just doing this, they are very smart people. Uh, they will raise their premium accordingly, and there is a reinsurance sitting there at their back who basically will have their tools, and if something happens they will have to do it because it's not that I insure you when I am a company, but I also do further insurance to reinsurance guy, right? So it is a very safe model. It is not that simply claims बढ़ जाएंगे. It doesn't happen like that. In that also just buy the efficient guy, like HDFC is the most efficient insurance company in life, and ICICI Lombard is very good in non-life. So just buy these two companies and sit tight. Trust me, you don't have to do anything. Uh, uh, is this the right time to invest in market is high but economy is bad, and where to invest right now? Should money be kept in debt market and wait for market correction? See, it's a very good question. Right now, yes, market is in euphoria because we know that economy is in bad shape, market is moving up. So should you actually be cautious on market? Yes, you should be cautious on market. I am not suggesting that you be 100% invested. You should have a good amount of cash or 20-30% in your portfolio because markets are very very different. And whenever there is a fall, let's say market goes to 10,500, let's say, you should invest a bit of money. But in that also, I just go one level down, look for sectors. Now, I don't think so there's a problem with chemical companies, despite market doing good, bad, ugly, or economy in bad shape, or let's say insurance company, or few select large banks. So I'm saying look for those companies. These are, trust me, these are very motherhood statements and people say, markets are expensive, we should wait for correction. It's fine, I understand that. But look for companies which are doing well and just invest them. Ignore market for some time because you will have a lot of clutter in markets, which you should avoid. Don't you think share P, which is about the industry P, is risky one? Not at all. Trust me, I look for company with high P and I invest in it. Because please understand, there is a reason that why this particular company is trading at higher P, and the reason is that my ROC is higher than the industry. See, if a company is trading at expensive valuation, there has to be a reason. If there is no reason it's expensive, you should definitely not buy it or sell. But if there is reason like DMart, most expensive company, but still people like it. Why? Just because he's making more money than everyone else. It's that simple. So it's not fair to say that his B is expensive, so I should sell. No, his ROC is the most important. Cash flows are good. He pays dividend. I mean, if these are three things, he will be bound to be expensive. Yeah. Uh, uh, if a stock is trading at 100 P, what reason will you justify such P and how long one needs to project it? Okay. See, price to earning is a function of price to earning is a function of your growth and of course ROC. So I'll give you a classic example like Infosys in 2001. They used to trade at 100 P, but they used to grow at also 100%. If a company is growing at 100%, it's okay to be at 100 P, but that will not sustain for long period because he can't be at 100 P all the time. but the P will come down from 100 to 80 to 60 to 50 and 40, but EPS will compensate that. Like I explained you that 10 rupees EPS and 10 rupees P, but EPS will go to 15, 20, 20, 25. Maybe your P will come down some bit, so you will still make money if the business is doing very good. So, uh, so it is not that 100p stock will always not make money. Yes, it will take a pause, or it can have a 6 months of time correction or some price correction. But you can, of course, you can't justify that 100p. The justification is only that if my growth is also 100%. So a smaller companies or maybe companies for some time can do 100% for 2 3 years, but not beyond. Reason for Ruchi Soya to have a big market? Uh, no, see Ruchi Soya, I can't comment on that. I don't know why it went up because there was no float also in Ruchi Soya, so it just went up and it will come down like. So I don't want to comment on that. I don't know. Logistic companies such as Blue Dart, what is the future? How would national logistics policy impact? Now, logistics as a sector is a good sector, no doubt. But companies all cargo and all, I will not get into that because there are 3 4 businesses, and so logistics is of different type. You have speed logistics, which is a good business. Then you have a lot of other logistics business also, which is not that interesting business. They're very low ROC businesses. So generally, I avoid our logistics business. Blue Dart was good, but it's unfortunate that that sector is in such a pain because this is a real business which is linked with the economy. Now, if the economy is not do well, I cannot do well, and that's why they're struggling for last 4 5 years. I will avoid this business. Big Bazaar was over leveraged. Yes, it was over leveraged because when I was not making money, not making cash flows, I had to take a lot of debt. It's a trap, and he got in a trap. Big Bazaar corporate governance challenge at least. Uh, yes, there were and there are with that management, and this all leads to basically your problem what he has faced now. Uh, DMart is better. One of the main reason is DMart has his own building, less expensive. Interior cost is less compared to. Yes, there are multiple reasons. Okay, since you're talking about this and you want to get into this, it is not on. See, retail business is a function of how much churns I do. Now, I think when DMart started, uh, they opened only one store for 5 years. For 5 years, they were just doing business in one store and trying to better the model. And in next 5 years, they went up to opening like 30, 40 more stores. And the way they did was, yes, they have their own real estate, and Mr. RKD bought a lot of the real estate when the real estate was in problem. In 2008, he bought so much of real estate left, right, and center, and that's why we say that he is a visionary because he understood that maybe this is the bottom and I should buy them. Yes, you're right that his interior costs are very low because when you go, you don't feel like going. That's why I'm saying. So there are a lot of things, but the best part is the churning he's doing in his product. Like the way they model themselves is they have criteria. This product doing the best. Let me put only those kind of products. So I'm saying that is the way they do their business. Then internally they are so efficient in terms of same square feet should do more and more revenue. That is their focus, and that is how you reduce your cost. Because when you do more sales, that is like to like sales, you make a lot of money. Uh, since there is no financial and past historical performance, what are some things that we can look into IPO? No, in IPO you get your past performance. If you look at the DRHP, you get financials of those companies for last 5 years easily. So I don't think so why this has been asked, but you get those kind of numbers and you compare it because when we look at IPOs, without numbers we can't buy any company. So we look at companies, we look at their numbers. Just give a mood. I just want to have a sip of water. Thank you. Uh, so DMart is better, fine. So I have talked about IPO. Point explain diversified story. Example, Grasim industry. Could you explain a bit for particular company since it holds stock? Yeah. See, generally, if you ask me personally, I don't like companies which are conglomerates, because what happens is when you look at these companies, it's very difficult to analyze these companies, because you have to look at business one, business two, business three, then compare and consolidate. That is one. Second is, uh, if I have multiple businesses, one company, the management thought process is also divided. They have limited bandwidth, and then they will operate three businesses. The same guy, trust me, he can't do justice. So generally, I avoid conglomerates. Now, Grasim is not like that. Grasim is just a holding company. So they have put a lot of cement company, most of the cement company in one unit called Samriddhi or something like that. Now, uh, so they get holding discount there. That is the problem. So if a company, let's say I have a company and I have a company, step down company, and I have a big unit there, me as a company will always get holding discount. And why do I get a holding discount? The reason is that I'm never going to sell that company. So there will be always 30-40% holding discount. And that's why I avoid companies like these. I don't want to get into that. I like companies with direct company buying. That is important. Throw some light on Tata Motor. Today there is a news of buyback of 50. Uh, See, Tata Motors, if you ask me, I am bullish, and I'll tell the reason for that. But this 50 lakh shares will not move a needle to them. 50 lakh shares is nothing. Not if 50 lakh at 100 rupees. I mean, it's nothing, right? But the way to look at it is not that. The way to look at it is, of late, if you see Mr. Chandrasekhar is talking about, is that he will focus on cash flows, he will focus on reducing costs, he will focus on products. I'm saying, if the head of the business says that I want to focus on these things, and we know he has a reasonably good track record, because one thing is very important, that if I as a business uh, have done reasonable size business, like we manage TCS, which are big unit. For me, it's easy to manage businesses wherever it is, because I have to just get the structure right first. And if he does that, I think there's a lot of wealth to be created in Tata Motors. And if you're me personally, I'll take a reasonable bet on Tata Motors, given what is happening. Can you share your thoughts on government PSU stocks? I generally avoid PSU stocks. Trust me, I don't like them. I don't like them at all, because they don't make money. They're inefficient. And there's so much of efficient companies in the market. Why should I look at it? So generally avoid them. Uh, Defense sector, yes, I can look at companies in defense, because, but I will play safer. Like I'll play through Solar Industries, or maybe Mishra Dhatu, which are little known companies, then an unknown one, where I don't know what is happening. Because one one is that defense sector itself is so unknown, and then in unknown to unknown there will be more problems. So I'll go for companies which have uh, tested, tried, and people understand them. Throw some light on Alok Industries. I will not buy Alok Industries, because I don't know what is the future of that business. It can happen that it can be used only for internal consumption of Reliance Retail or something else. So I will avoid that company. Market is heading for correction, that is for sure. I don't know that market is heading for corrections, but what should I do? The question is, should I invest in markets right now, or should I wait for correction? Trust me, I don't know myself if the market correct and when. It's a very $1 million question. That's why I say, be sit on cash for 20-30%. That is absolutely fine. Okay. and look for stock which you like, and just for some time ignore markets. And one way to do is, let's say if you have a big portfolio, you can buy hedge. Hedge is just buying, maybe you buy a December put of 11,200. That will just help you in kind of protecting your portfolio. That's about it. But other than that, I think, but buying a put option is a good option if you ask me personally. Then please हो गया, can we PSU through the live market? Your views on day trading? I don't think so. We should do day trading. Trust me, I will not do that. I will not do day trading at all. Uh, mm, I avoid. Well, it's a very difficult one. I don't know what will happen to the stock in day on that day. It can lose money, it can gain money. I generally avoid those kind of segments. Now, how do you think listed stocks will perform upon reduction in share capital? Will it trade at further lower cap price, or will the stock gradually pick up since losses are wiped off due to reduction in share capital? No, actually, it depends on the business. I don't think so that reducing your share capital or increasing your share capital impacts your price in the long term. But generally, it's a good thing to do, if you ask me personally. And it is not wiping out of share capital. It's basically saying that I am, cleaning my balance sheet, and it's a good thing to do. But it will depend on the business. Like if you remember, Tata Steel did a lot of impairments. So it's a good thing to do, right? Because they identified that this asset which is sitting on a book is not something that will give me money. So I just removed it from my balance sheet. Nothing wrong. But business is supreme. My business has to be there. So RIL stocks are already high. Is it make sense to enter now? Looking at the plan. See, if you have a horizon of 6 months, I will avoid. There can be corrections for sure. But if you're looking for 2, 3, 4 years, then maybe this stock that you can buy. And always remember that you don't have to buy stock in one go. Buy over a period of 6 months. It's okay. So buy over a period of 6 months, you will make money for next 2, 3 years. So that's okay. The 5 stock we buy on Monday and make money in next 3 months. I seriously don't know. Otherwise, I would have been sitting at home and doing this.
We were all waiting for your answer, Mr. Sandeep, for this point.
Trust me, don't do that. I actually in my slide I told you, don't go for these kind of things. Trust me, you will not be happy because stocks are so volatile, so volatile that you'll end up losing money rather than making money, because the probability of losing money is much higher. So that's why I'm saying avoid these kind of things that you want to buy stock for 3 months. You'll not lose it. So thing is very simply, just do what you have to do. Just buy HDFC Bank, buy Kotak Bank, buy Reliance, buy a DMart. So these are companies that you should buy for long term and buy over a period. Don't buy in one go and close your buying. No, not at all. If you can buy 10, just buy 2 rupees right now. Because markets will be volatile, trust me, because the way it has come up, I wouldn't be surprised if it comes down to 10,000 also Nifty. Why should it not come down to that 10,000? So the way it has moved up, it will come down maybe to 20%, 10%. So I'm saying go very slow in investing, but do only investing. Now, Glenmark has fallen from 1,000 to 400. What are the reasons? Now, pharma asset was not doing well. Off-late pharma is doing well, and that too in pharma, APIs are doing very well. Not every pharma company is doing well. And Glenmark is not the A plus category pharma company. Let it be very clear. And they have various products which have failed. So in pharma, it is very important to understand how the products are doing. If the products are not doing well, you should be out of that stock, and that's why it's a difficult one to track. So I'll not get into that. How will LIC listing affect life insurance companies? I think it will be good only because right now you are not don't have too much of competition in the market, and it is not that people just start buying LIC. I don't think so. People will still buy companies which are most efficient, and I think HDFC Life is very efficient. Um, I am not negative. I am very positive on sector because still after so much of this thing, the penetration is very low. People are not insured at all. If we talk to our friends also, we're not insured because we say मैं थोड़ा ना मरने वाला. So that's a wrong statement. We don't know. So people should do a lot of medical insurance. People should do a lot of life insurance. Not for you. It's for the people around you. It's for your family. It's not for you. Should you consider SBI cards? And yeah, I think we can consider. It's a good one. It will be volatile, as I said, but it's a good one to keep. We should buy SBI cards because I think that segment will grow. ICICI, yes, we should buy for long term. What's your view give the headache of PMS by sharing to NL and expect better return? See, I prefer mutual fund routes. I don't know about too much of PMS, but I will prefer mutual fund route for sure. Look for good fund managers like I think beat HDFC. I'm not the right guy to invest. I'm just taking names. I mean, if HDFC is doing well, so there's a site called Value Investing that gives you data on a lot of mutual fund ranking. And if you Google it up, also you get to know which are the best mutual funds, who are the best rated fund manager. You can invest in them. So that's about it. I think these are the questions I've received. I've answered them, most of them, all of them actually.
Just one last question you can take.
Yeah, no problem. I am okay. What will the long-term outlook for SBI cards when public are going for payments like apps? See, it is not that people are going only for Google Pay and Amazon Pay and Phone Pay. As cards are still being used in a long way. So when you do online shopping, you still use your credit card. It's not only swipe that you do. So it's still, and penetration is like so small, not even 3 or 4% in India of these kind of things. So there is a huge demand for us. And these people keep on doing the tie-ups. So they'll do a tie-up with Google Pay, Amazon. You'll not come to know also. So I'm not too worried because everyone doesn't do Google Pay and all. Google Pay you use when you have money in your account, right? Credit card is the basic difference is credit card is you don't have money with you. You take a 1 month loan, right? So that is and that too interest free 1 month loan. So there are two different models. Once you see that Google Pay comes with credit card online, then it will be big problem. Then the SBI will do something also. I think that's it. You have more questions I can answer. I have no worry. No problem.
Thanks, Mr. Sandeep. Thanks a lot for taking up this session. Your session was really insightful to help us in understand how the stock markets move. And there could be a chance that the economy and markets could move for a very short while in a different directions. And your advice that, not to go or be greedy for day trading is, definitely well taken. And the fact that we shouldn't look for a very short-term returns and we have to think always in long-term, all your advices we will definitely consider before going ahead and investing. To how to value the company, why the markets move in a different direction. Now we will be able to better understand this. And thanks a lot for patiently answering all the queries of the participants. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot and welcome, ma'am. And any queries you have, you can route it to people who have organized it. I'm okay. You can speak to Arjun also. But the idea is very simple. I just want to tell you guys, don't be in hurry to make money in markets because they're very dangerous also if you don't follow the rules. because I see a lot of people just to make quick money, they lose money, and probability is higher that they lose money. So it is important that we focus only on our principles, and trust me, over a period you will make money. And most important, don't lose money in markets, because you can still make money tomorrow. But if you lose money today, you will have no tomorrow. So that is the basic uh, thing that we should look at when you look at markets. So that's it. Thanks a lot. Thank you, and have a
Can
good
you
day.
share the presentation?
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. No problem.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Srinivasan.
Thank you.
Thank you.